Cue the meltdown. We now have official confirmation that Donald Trump will be talking with Joe Rogan on Friday, and the left is absolutely losing its mind. Look, Trump is trending in the right direction. There's a long way between now and November 5th. If you're a Trump voter, I always am telling people, vote early in person. Vote early in person and bring at least one other person. And I'm not talking about one other person that was going to vote for him anyway. I'm talking about a reluctant voter, an inconsistent voter, someone that didn't vote last year or doesn't vote often. Drag them with you. This has to be, literally swamp the vote. And this meltdown is so delicious. It's as delicious as my coffee brand coffee, by the way. Remember, my fall flavors are limited time only. They smell so good too. This is maple cream. This is peach cinnamon. We've got a lot of flavors that are 15% off right now. If you haven't gotten them yet, promo code FALLSAVE15. And we've got, a few of our summer flavors left, but those are gone. Our fall flavors are ridiculous. Spiked jack-o'-lantern, apple strudel, peach cinnamon, maple cream. You can't go wrong with any of them. Obviously, spiked jack-o'-lantern is a favorite from last year, but there's also a bundle you can get where it's discounted. Absolutely insanely good. And also a quick shout out to Meta PCs, the computer that I use, the computer that I've always used for the past, 5+ years. It's what I recommend my friends and family. Promo code TheQuartering to save. They do custom builds, pre-builds. They've got ready to ship laptops, financing, all sorts of stuff like that. Link in the description when you're ready for that. Podcasting giant Joe Rogan lands interview with Trump ahead of election. Trump will tape the interview on Friday. Now, I suspect he'll release it on Friday. Unless they're going to release it the following Friday, which would be the 1st, just 4 days before the election. I would rather they release it this Friday just because, we'll have more time to potentially, if he does well, which I hope he does, to change people's minds. We've also, it's all been speculated. Trump has been saying, I'm going on. What we now know, or according to nothing anywhere I can find, I think Kamala Harris chickened out. There is absolutely no confirmation that Kamala Harris is going to go on Joe Rogan. And if she doesn't, it's over. It's not over till you vote. But it'll be just... Now, again, Trump has to nail it. Trump has to absolutely crush it. You see this? Kamala Harris finding out that Trump will be on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Donald J. Trump is now president of the United States.
Kamala Harris was fabulous on Fox. She needs to go on Joe Rogan and speak to him for 3 hours so everyone can see how fabulous she is. That's an obvious joke, right? This is, a guy where Michael Malice went on there, whined him. I really think Trump should bring RFK. I really do. I think that would really help. Really. Seriously, I think that helps. The episode of Joe Rogan Experience with Kamala Harris will be the most downloaded 6-minute podcast ever. She's nailing it. Joe Rogan raves about Kamala Harris. Wrong. That's out of context. You can't find a negative story about Kamala Harris on Google if you tried. So, this is, and for years, Joe Rogan has said, I'm not going to do this. I don't want to, I don't want to sway the election. Of course, Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris have made numerous stops at influential podcasts during the campaign season. Harris recently appeared on Call Her Daddy podcast, which has the largest female American audience, to discuss women's issues, which was really just abortion. Trump has been a guest on such shows as Barstool Sports, Bussin' with the Boys, Full Send podcast, Patrick Bet-David's podcast. Don't forget Flagrant. Don't forget Theo Vaughn. Every interview he's done has getting millions and millions and millions of views. Rogan's show has reportedly been in talks with the interview with Harris, although no conversation has been set with just 2 weeks to go till the election day. There is no way. No way. Like, no way. There's no way, right? There's no way. I don't believe that that's possible. You know, I think they're gonna hide her bigly. They're gonna hide her as deeply as they can, because every time she opens up her mouth, bad things happen. Part of Rogan's appeal to fans is his lack of overt partisanship, as he's expressed support for varying figures such as Bernie Sanders, independent candidate RFK Jr., and at times even Trump. Although he did once call for the latter a threat to democracy, he later said in 2020 that he voted for Libertarian candidate Joe Jorgensen for president. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that that he's a huge fan of him. I just don't. I don't think that's the case. I don't think he's a huge fan of Trump. I just never have. But, you know, he can be tough on him as long as Trump comes across as human. Trump has to come across as human. That's the most important aspect of this. He has to come across as human. He has to come across as, you know, likable. He has to be able to make fun of himself. All the things that he can do, he just needs to. Most of the show's episodes do not have political guests, as Rogan, a stand-up comedian, UFC commentator, tends to bring on an eclectic group of guests, including other comics, academics, journalists, actors, and other celebrities. Rogan shows a freewheeling conversational style, often poke fun and question institutional norms and mainstream groupthink, and thus the show and its massive audience have been the subject of interest, controversy, and even envy for other media organizations. Well, the left is taking it well. Here's the New Republic. Trump cancels all of his events in favor of one of the worst people ever. What? After backing out of several major interviews last minute, which ones? Which ones? You want him to be on 60 Minutes? You want him to be on 60 Minutes where they're going to chop it up and make him look bad? There is no single interview that would reach more people than him going on JRE. Like, it's not even close. There's not a show on television that's anywhere near as big as Joe Rogan Experience. The Republican presidential nominee will be meeting with a former Fear Factor host on Friday. Reported Politico, it'll be the first time that Trump has appeared on Rogan's podcast. This will be the biggest show ever. Over the last several months, Trump has made a concerted effort to reach young male voters by signing a slew of podcast interviews, like Twitch bannee Aiden Ross, who's salty much, Lex Friedman, 6 Feet Under, hosted by Mike Calloway or The Undertaker, Theo Vaughn's podcast. Meanwhile, Trump has aggressively dodged more mainstream news appearances. Nobody watches the mainstream news, bro. Nobody reads the New Republic unless they're making fun of it, like we're doing right now. And by the way, are you bothering to call out the fact that Kamala Harris has done a grand total of 2 interviews and I believe 0 press conferences, or taken 0 questions at press conferences? 0? 0. 0. Now, Harris has also been in talks to sit down with Rogan for an interview, reported Reuters. My guess, sleepy Trump cancel one of his own events again. Well, I'm pretty sure he needs some time to prepare. He probably needs some time to prepare. Hucky. He probably needs a little Hucky puppy. I mean, this entire rag is a massive cope fest, wondering, sleepy Trump cancels one of his own events. He doesn't have to do any more events if he nails the Rogan podcast. And whoever his handlers are probably know that. They probably know that. Like, if he just goes on JRE and appears likable and normal and all this kind of stuff, like, he I mean, what, another rally in a state that already loves him? And by the way, he has time. And nowhere on this article, by the way, Kamala Harris took the day off today. Do you think they wrote about that? She took the day off and sent out Obama. You know, she sent out Obama instead of doing it herself. This is going to be the biggest single podcast appearance in history. It's going to be legendary. I hope it lives up to the hype because the mainstream media is already melting down. The Daily Beast is melting down. Harris mocks Christians. I mean, Harris is spiraling. I don't know what this does to the, I don't know how many undecideds really listen to JRE, but I can tell you right now, Donald Trump leads by 30 points in the betting markets. He's still behind in the polls. Where you live is probably open for early voting. So go vote early in person. Get some Coffee Brand coffee. If you don't love it, I'll refund it. I'm sure you'll love it. And don't forget Meta PCs, and we'll talk to you again real soon.